episode of Wheelchair Wednesday, and it just so happens to be the day before our nation's Independence Day. Coming to us today is a brave soul from the state of good old Georgia. When I think of Georgia, I think of Georgia. I forgot who sings that song. You guys can put it in the comments. Let me know. But before we get to her, let's go ahead and roll the intro. Happy Independence Day, happy 4th of July, and welcome to another episode of Wheelchair Wednesday. All right, y'all, let's welcome to the show Maggie Deery. How are you, Deery?
Hey, I'm doing great. So I'm Maggie. I'll be 30 on Tuesday. I live in Smyrna, Georgia, and so sorry. I was born and raised on Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, and I was in gifted classes from the time I was in elementary school. Um, I In 7th grade, the last day of 7th grade, I got in trouble with the law, and it kind of just spiraled downhill after that. Um, I, uh, I got arrested my freshman year at the football game, and I got suspended for 10 days, and I kind of just gave up after that. When I was 17, I got sent to rehab to avoid I had a lot of juvenile charges.
Dang,
And
Maggie, you were a bad girl, huh? Living the outlaw
yeah,
life.
I mean, okay, growing up on Hilton Head, it's like it's a resort, like it's a party town. Like the economy is literally based on like food and beverage and partying. So like, yeah, I definitely was a wild child. But
Now, were you the only
um,
child, or did you have other siblings?
no, I have a younger and older brother. We're all less than 2 years apart. So it was my
Um,
childhood was wild. Like 3 kids less than 2 years apart. It was never my house was always lively. I'll say
it's never
that.
good when the men are leading the charge and you got the lonely woman stuck in between the two brothers that are just great
Right, but like
influences.
the only girl, so like I was like a princess. I was so spoiled. Like
That's funny.
but yeah.
So, leading up to your accident, how old were you when you got injured?
I was 17. It was my senior year of high school.
Wow. So, what happened there?
Um, so it was like a normal day. I had found out I had failed my drug test for alcohol, but he wasn't gonna tell my probation officer. And I got picked up by this girl, Kendall, because she went to private school. I had gone to parties with her all through high school, but I didn't know her that well. And then I was with two other guys and a girl, and we were at the guy's house, and like everyone else was outside, and it was just me and Kendall. And like I sat and talked with her for about 30 minutes planning the next night. And I asked for a ride home. And the last thing I remember is like she had a two-door, four-seater BMW, so there's only 4 seats. And I remember complaining, I was like, why does everyone have to ride where I have to smush in between the two back seats and we're just taking me home? And on Hilton Head, gated communities are called plantations. So they're like really big gated communities. So we were still in the plantation, and she was going like 75 to 80 miles an hour, and we hit a tree head on.
Dang.
And yeah, so like I saw pictures of the car, and it didn't even look like a vehicle anymore.
This was a
But
BMW?
yeah, it was a little I forget the model, but it was a little two-door, four-seater BMW. Yeah,
Sorry,
and
if you guys see me waving at the air, there's just like an influx of mosquitoes. Maggie's already been seeing me like fighting for my life over here, so I turned down old Sparky. See if we can kill a couple of these dang things. I don't know where they come from. They must come from like the floor of the concrete or something. I don't know. Sorry. Anyway, go ahead. Continue.
That's okay. But yeah, Kendall was killed on impact, and I flew
Oh, damn.
forward, and I broke my neck at C5, C6, and I also, from the motion of the car going so forward and backwards so quickly, it's like my brain shook inside of my skull, and I got what's known as a diffuse axonal traumatic brain injury, which is like it's like tiny bleeds all over the brain from like the jarring
The
of the
accident,
brain and
right?
the skull.
Dang.
And so like I was in a coma for 3 days. I got helicoptered to Savannah Memorial and I don't like my experience from a lot of other people's spinal cord injury experience is a lot different because I never had a moment that I remember like being like, "Oh my God, I'm paralyzed." Like I don't remember. I would say about a month and a half afterwards. And I was told the first thing the first thing I didn't the first thing I said, I didn't ask why I couldn't move. I didn't ask what happened. I spelled out cigarette.
Oh my gosh.
And the nurse was so bashful of like how inappropriate that was. But my mom was like, no, like that's her. Like she wants a cigarette.
Right, right. I can see that. Um, so let me ask you this: how old are you now? That happened when you were 17. How old are you now?
I'll be 30 on Tuesday, unfortunately.
And so you've been down for quite a while. Um,
Yeah, it'll be 13 years in November.
so here's a question for you that it could go either way, really. I mean, I've seen it both ways. The question stated, would you walk if you could? Now, what I mean by that is, if you could go back that night and completely erase your knowledge of today, okay, you don't even know about being in a wheelchair. If you go back that night and somehow not get in that car and keep living your life the way you were, would you do that or would you stay where you are now?
You know, I've been thinking long and hard about this question. I so I've gotten to live like there's two things. Number one being the relationship I got with my family and select few friends, like how enriched those bonds are. I don't think I would trade. Um, I and also on top of that, I've gotten to do so much with my life that like I who knows, I could be dead or in jail. Like I was going down a bad path again and like I just think of like how how I realize like what matters and that's like family and just like being happy, you know, like being um I I didn't finish because 3 years after that, I got hit head on by a drunk driver, and I got a second brain injury, and I
Oh
broke my
my
back again.
gosh.
I know. Yeah. So it happened again. It happened again to me.
Well, I mean, at least you could sit here and laugh about it now, and you're just like,
Yeah,
you know what?
I'm still. Yeah.
Right, right. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
But like,
can't keep you down.
it's
It's all
just.
about attitude, you know.
It really is like you can laugh or you can cry and like
You got two choices, yeah.
obviously nobody's gonna be happy 24/7, but like in general, having a positive outlook just feels better, you know?
Right. What's up, Tim? Joining in. How you doing? Now, this is a live show, Maggie. So if anybody watches and they have any questions that they want to ask, they're free to ask live. Once we're live, we're live. But once we're off, it's up to you to kind of look back and answer questions if anybody asks them. To kind of,
Okay.
check out your own video and see if anybody else has anything to say.
Okay.
So the next one, so you'd say you'd stay where you're at then. You wouldn't go back.
Yeah, and like honestly, the only thing I would ask for, I don't care about being in a wheelchair. Like I've got that one down. I just want my independence.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even have anything to do with walking. It would just be independence.
Yeah, that's understandable. Things that people take for granted every day, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. Just it's the little things. It really is.
Yep. Now, my next question for you is stated as dating slash married, but you mentioned something about the relationship you were in before. How has dating or anything like that went since being in a chair?
Um, It's been a little off the wall. I mean, dating, I'm not a fan of dating. Like I'm lonely and like I wanna date, but like I'll go on dating apps and it's like, I'm paralyzed and in a wheelchair and they're like, okay, that's not a problem. And then it's like, no, like I'm like really paralyzed. Like
Yeah.
like not
Like, no,
not
like,
just
I'm like
not just
paralyzed, right?
like for real,
Right, right.
like so yeah, I am dating, but I'm really single, and
You're dating
I
and
have
you're open to look. Yeah, you're open
I
for
have terrible I have terrible taste in men. I
she's
always have from day
oh, she
one.
admits
I,
it. She admits it. The
no,
first time in
because
history.
it's so obvious. Like just look at my history,
She says
and
I have terrible
yeah.
taste in men. That's I mean, yeah.
No,
So, I mean, what do you mean about you just like the bad boys or something or what?
I do. Like, there's something about a bad boy that just doesn't have his stuff. I don't want to curse. Doesn't have his stuff together. Like, just a bad boy.
You're
And
like,
it's
you know
like,
what? You look like you could ruin my life. Let me hook up with you. What's
exactly
your phone
like,
number?
please hurt me.
Right.
Like, yeah.
That is awesome. What's your biggest pet peeve about being in a chair?
Um, all the stigmas. Um, I mean, like my biggest, the something I hate is I'll go in public and I'll be with like, say I'll be with my mom or with my caregiver or whatever, and people will ask like, can she do this? And it's like, I am sitting right here. Like, what is that? Like, people will like won't ask me directly. They'll ask whoever I'm with. Like I'm like null and void, and that
Right.
drives me nuts. That one gets to me.
Yeah,
It's
I've heard
like,
that a
why?
couple times. Yeah.
Uh,
Yep. Man, you know, I'm waiting for the day for somebody to do that for me. I'm just like, come on, give me a reason. We like to have fun with it, but
yeah.
no, that's the thing. I think that we could really. Sorry, folks.
Hi.
Don't know what that was about. Crazy things happen here all the time. But I think we were right on question number 4, which is pet peeves. And you said that you were talking about how when people say, like, they talk to your caregiver or something like that instead of you.
Yeah, like, does she want this or like, can she do that? It's like, why does me being in a wheelchair make me not a person?
Right, right. Hopefully we got most of that part. I'm not sure what's on there, what not, what's not. We'll have to go back and look and mesh stuff together. That's what happens when you do these live. You know what I mean? It's like anything happens,
Yeah.
anything can happen. The next
Like a
question, though,
puzzle.
right. The next question that I got for you is, what is something that you wish you could do now that you can no longer do, that you used to be able to?
Drive.
Drive.
Yeah, and like it is I got my permit a couple months ago and I just worry because like a brain injury can slower your reaction time, and I just like I there's a cognitive test they do, but like I don't know, and like just being in 2 accidents, like the thought of driving makes me really nervous, which is probably why I haven't done it yet. But like I want the independence, but then I'm thinking like, well, where the heck am I gonna go by myself anyways?
Oh, right. See, right now, like and like when I say like and I'm talking about me, it's not like I'm trying to take away from anybody. I just want to put that out there. Somebody said it to me, and I was like, oh, you gosh, come on. I'm trying to conversate with a
It's
person.
relating,
Right.
yeah,
So what
yeah.
I'm saying is like when I was, like thinking the same way, I didn't really care about getting back in a vehicle, but like when I got back in it, and I actually went, but like I learned how to do it. It was so great. But like you said, right now I
Mhm,
can't go with anybody. I'm on 24-hour watch. Like
mhm.
if I fell out of my chair, I can't pick myself back up. Like I don't know why. It's
Yeah,
weird. I'm
yeah.
just, you know what I mean. So like you said, where are you gonna go?
Yeah, like what? Like I just think like, okay, I can drive, but then like I honestly, being injured, like, and not being alone very often, I get really a lot of anxiety just because like things have happened so like out of the blue. Like one time I was on a date and I passed 8 kidney stones and I stopped breathing. And that
What?
just like came out of the blue. I kept them. They're giant kidney stones
You
too.
kept the kidney stones?
I did.
What?
They're in a little tooth fairy box.
Oh my goodness. That's a first
I mean,
here
if
on the
you
show.
saw the size of these things, you would have kept them too, I promise.
I can't even. Like you can't make this stuff up. Like this
No,
is
you
oh
can't.
man, this is the stuff of dreams. So when we have you back on for the Wheelchair Wednesday throwbacks, you're gonna bring them on and you're gonna show us.
Oh, I will gladly do that. I mean, it's like I feel like a champion. Like who I don't. And it literally made me stop being able to breathe. And I didn't know
Oh,
until I got in bed and found the kidney stones. I had no idea what had happened. I just like I stopped being able to breathe. I was on my way home from a date. I scared the crap out of my date.
mm-mm.
I never saw him again. No, I'm
She
just
said I
kidding.
never saw. Oh
I'm,
man, I was gonna
I'm
say, don't
actually
say
no,
that. Oh man.
I'm actually friends with him.
Oh man, yeah, the kidney stones, man. I've heard some bad stories about kidney stones, but that right there is
Yeah,
like that tops it.
yeah.
Man, I can't imagine. I've never had one. I'm gonna knock on artificial fake wood just in case,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
um,
I had to get my bladder cleaned out, and I actually that was like probably about 8 years ago, and I haven't really had issues since.
what do you do for
I have a super pubic.
no, I was gonna say, what do you do for like like what do you call it? Like exercise or like
I go I go so twice a week I go to Next Step um paralysis recovery where like one of those days they stand me up and work me out. And then another day it's just like fitness, like they do like I don't stop for an hour. And then so those are 2 days, and then about 4 days a week I go to Shepherd Promotions Gym.
okay.
They have an adaptive gym, and they also have a pool. I want to go swimming. I've had a wound, but it's finally healed. Uh, so yeah, I want to swim too. But
Yeah, I've heard
my
swimming's pretty good on your back and such.
I feel like you could stretch really good in the water.
Get you the weightless motion feeling.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly though, I went to the camp with Shepherd, and so to be able to go in the water, I had to be able to turn over from being face down in the water. And when I did the test, I wasn't able to do it, and then I'm like, oh my God, I was like hitting her to turn me back over, and I like started panicking and flailing my arms because like obviously I knew she
Oh
was gonna turn
my
me over,
gosh.
but it was just not quick enough. It scared the crap out of me.
See,
I
I couldn't
literally
do it.
started
Nope.
flailing.
You just gave me
Yeah, and
flashbacks
that
with the Y
yes,
Center
that
at 7
scared
years old.
me.
I'm good.
I don't want to mess with the water after that unless it's really supervised.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
Because it just it
I'm
showed.
a paraplegic, and I get water in my ear, and I'm done. I get ear infections. Like I've already had surgeries. Like I can't even do it. You know
Oh
what I mean?
gosh.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
But so I feel you. Everybody asks me, hey, you should do a water therapy, and I'm just like, probably not. Maybe hot tub
Yeah.
therapy. I can get down with that. Give me a lift to get into a hot tub where I don't got to put my head under. I'm good with that. I'll do that.
Yeah, that sounds nice. But I know that they always warn me that that can drop your blood pressure. I don't know. Do you deal with low blood pressure? Or is that like a quad thing?
I mean, it just depends. Like, you know, it's weird for all of us, I think, because the temperature. Like I'll be cold
Yeah.
and I'll look at my woman and she's like, I'm fine. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like I'm hot. I'm like, you're crazy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, what are you talking about? It's 74 degrees out. I got a hoodie on. It's
Yeah.
nuts. It just varies. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
luckily I don't deal with a lot of stuff that like puts me close to AED or anything, which I know a lot of people do. It just depends on your nervous system and how it goes.
Yeah. I've dealt with a lot of dyslexia.
Autonomic
I've
dyslexia.
learned like I know my body really well. I get red on one side of my face and I'll sweat on one side of my face and I get chill bumps. But I get dyslexic for random reasons that I never figure out why. It just like subsides, but that's what I've learned. It's like a guessing game where you don't always get to get the answer.
Right, right. Well, that kind of brings me to my next question was, what about the pain substance? So after your accident, like how much pain are you in? Do you deal with that at all?
So I know in the beginning I was very repetitive saying, "Oh, my neck." But I don't really remember the pain. I know my neck really hurt me in the beginning, and I would repetitively complain about it, and like my mom would like try to refocus me, but I don't remember the pain. And like now, I don't deal with any pain. Like I don't hurt at all. And I know I see people that are in like so much pain in similar situations. It's like I don't deal with any pain really.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I
Yeah,
hear more and more people that are just they get they're like, I guess I got lucky, you know what I mean, and got out of the pain, and it's like
yeah, yeah,
that's like, and to be paralyzed alone is enough, you know what I mean, like to have to
yeah,
deal with
yeah.
pain and everything else is like it's a lot of bull crap that I don't think anybody should have to deal with, obviously. But then again, there are drugs that
No,
you can take and all these medications. But
yeah.
how much do you want to put
But
in your body?
then
You know what I
that
mean?
just yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What type of are you on any kind of like big medications that people don't like?
Um, so what's that one? Okay, so 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I was on baclofen, but my neurologist told me, and he was a lawyer and a neurologist. He was like a genius. But I don't know, he told me he read some research studies that showed that baclofen could cause permanent paralysis of muscles. And like even if I can't use them, I didn't want that. So I got off of baclofen and I switched to Xanadine, which is a muscle relaxer, and dantrolene, which dantrolene is an old drug, but Shepard put me on that one. But besides that, mainly just like Lyrica and then my sleeping medicine, but I've cut down my meds a lot from the beginning. Like everything I take is a necessity. I don't take anything. Like I've cut out a lot.
For sure. No, and like I wish, like anybody that can cut out medications that don't even do anything, I highly recommend it. Like they had me on
Yeah,
gabapentin. What's that? Like you said, the baclofen, which I'm on 10 milligrams, so it's a very low dosage.
yeah,
But when I
yeah,
don't take it, I can feel like my nerves kicking in my legs. So
yeah,
like I'll feel these little jolts every once in a while. It's like almost like electricity going through my foot, to my foot up to my knee or back to my hip or something like that. It's weird.
yeah.
So the baclofen kind of dies that down a little bit. So for me, I don't plan on getting up and walking again. Like I've accepted my life in a chair, so it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
to hear that you heard that from your guy, which is a trusted dude, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'll take it, whatever, as long as I can, you know what I mean, still get up in the morning and
yeah,
you know what I mean, go
yeah.
outside with my son and hang out. But
It's
for
about
everybody, it's
making the
different.
now bearable.
Yeah, yeah. For everybody, it's different, and that's the big thing that I've learned about even doing this show is spinal cord injuries or even all kinds of diseases. Everything's different. Every spinal cord injury is
It's like a
different.
fingerprint. It's like a
Yeah,
fingerprint. No two are
or
the
a
same.
snowflake, if you believe that
Yeah.
one. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, you can't every snowflake in entire history be different. Like, there's no way.
There's no way. Is that geometrically possible?
I don't know. I mean, you ask a
I don't
mathematician,
know
I'm sure he'll
either.
find a way to tell you that it is.
Alright.
Um, my next question that I have for you is, what is the one thing that helped you the most after your injury?
Um, my family. And also to be more specific, my mom is actually a nurse. And like I couldn't imagine going through this without having a nurse for a mom. And like granted, spinal cord injury is a very much a specialty. she still had a lot of like medical knowledge that was helpful throughout the beginning couple of years that were really difficult.
Right.
My family being there, I couldn't imagine not having like my mom, my dad, and my brothers there to they got me through a really hard time. Like I couldn't have done it without them, you know?
Absolutely. No, I know exactly what you mean because, everybody, not everybody has a person, but if you do have somebody or people, you know what I mean, that help you, you kind of realize like a background such as that. Like my, fiance has a background in doing, like health aid, home health aid for, every
Okay.
kind of different. So, it
Yeah.
can be younger, older, doesn't matter, but she had that kind of experience. So for me, to do all this and still be coherent and talk to her and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And not like lash out at her and trying to hurt her. She's like, that's a bonus. And you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I can still do that. But, it all works out. And I think that having somebody that has that knowledge is even better. You know what I mean? It can only help the
Yeah,
situation.
definitely.
So, um, what about your hobbies? What did you used to do as far as hobbies before your injury? And then what do you do now?
So growing up, I played softball. Oh, I started out playing boys baseball, and I made traveling all stars with the boys. And then I went to softball, and I did traveling softball where I went to tournaments. I was really good at softball, but my senior year, I don't think because I was good enough to go to college, but I had my social life on priority, so
Right,
I
right.
don't.
You want to go out and have
Uh,
fun.
yeah, I struggle. I'm working on finding more hobbies. I start school in August, so that's gonna be a big, um, take up a lot of time. My favorite thing to do, it's obviously not that easy to do, being that I live in Georgia. But I love snow skiing. Like snow skiing is my absolute favorite thing in the world. Like flying down a mountain is just there's nothing like it.
Where have you flown down a mountain at?
So every year in Beach Mountain, North Carolina in January, this foundation does a week of skiing. And then I've been to Park City, I've been to Breckenridge a couple times.
Wait, is this after the
Um,
injury or beforehand?
After the injury.
What?
Yes, I've been skiing a bunch. I'm telling you, like I don't get adrenaline doing like anything else, but and like the way I ski is I sit and it's called a bi ski. It has two skis on the bottom
Yeah, yeah,
and it
yeah.
has yeah, it has outriggers and I have skis on my hands and I'm tethered to a rope with somebody skiing behind me.
That's awesome.
When I say we fly down the mountain, we fly down the mountain.
Oh man, I can't even like imagine. I'm not really a big skier, but I can imagine how that could like pump you up and get you adrenaline.
It
Like,
does. It's like you feel so alive.
you know what? It probably makes you feel like when you first get back into driving and you just hit the highway for the first time. Because I mean that felt like going down a mountain. Because I was doing
I
60
believe
miles an hour and I'm just like, oh goodness, here we go. That's crazy. Um,
it.
Next one I got for you is what about obviously traveling? You just mentioned, North Carolina. What do you think about travel and, as far as being in a chair wise, what's your outlook on that?
Accessibility is a tough one because and honestly the thing is like everybody's definition of accessible is different. Like there's not like a set definition of like I mean it should be a stair-free path that a wheelchair could get through, but like I hear, oh, it's accessible, it only has a couple steps. Like you just like I've noticed that traveling takes a lot of more research than before. Like, it just, uh, yeah, I love traveling and like, I like to plan out trips and like to do the research, but,
What
it's
about like
not
when the
easy.
research as far as like when you get somewhere, do you do like Airbnb or something or
Yeah, I've done Airbnb a lot. And like, like the way, like for me, it's not that difficult because like I mean, like when I only go on like a 2 or 3 day trip, I don't need to be able to get into the bathroom, so that makes it a lot easier, you know.
Right.
Um, but yeah, traveling.
So, and you have like, I mean,
It's
people that help you, like your mom or somebody goes with you and just kind of helps you like
Yeah, and
transfer and do stuff.
I have 2 different caregivers plus past caregivers that travel with me sometimes. Um, so yeah, I go back to where I'm from, Hilton Head, pretty often because my dad and brothers still live there.
North Carolina,
South Carolina,
South
Hilton Head.
Carolina. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. It's
Yep.
about 4.5 hours from where I am. I'm right outside of Atlanta.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, the last question that I got for you of the day is what is the, if you could think of the most like inspirative piece of information you can give to somebody laying in that bed right now that just got newly injured, or even somebody that's been doing it for a while, what would be your piece of advice?
Oh, that's a hard one. Hold on, let me think for a second. The most inspirational thing I could say is that, I mean, it does get easier. Like you think and like I said, my beginning experience was a little bit different because of my brain injury, but you you do get to live on, and like life does go on. Like it's different, but you can live differently abled. It's possible, and like you can be happy again, but like no one's gonna do it for you but you know, because like that's a whole mental thing that is totally within. So yeah, it does get better.
Nice. It does get better, folks. You heard it straight from her. Straight from the lips of Maggie Deery herself out of the great state of Georgia here in the United States. Maggie, the 4th of July is tomorrow. What
Yes,
is your outlook on the 4th of July?
my outlook.
Yeah, what do you think about it?
Um, Yay for independence.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna, we're not gonna bring you all down the thing. Do you guys do anything special? You guys go all out? You guys buy a bunch of
No,
fireworks, or you guys don't go
no,
anywhere? Or...
my dogs are really scared of fireworks.
Oh man, you're
You
yup,
know, we,
you're
and
that
one
house.
time, no, listen, one time my mom put a firework next to a candle and it went off in my kitchen. My dog was in the closet for like 3 hours. We
Oh my
traumatized
gosh.
him. We had like the big fireworks going off in my kitchen. My ears rung. I've never had that happen
Oh
before.
my goodness. Well, there you got it, folks. Um, Thanks for coming on, Maggie. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, I did.
Um,
Thank you for having me.
yeah, thanks for sharing your story. Everybody else, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, post them down below. Maggie will be on here. She'll be checking them. I'm sure she'll be answering from time to time. As far as
Yeah.
that, Maggie, stay with us. We'll be right with you. Everybody else, tune in next time here on Wheelchair Wednesday. Thanks for watching.